Hey everybody, this is Shiny Sephiroth here. Really excited to say that I finally beat level or floor 38, level 4 or 37, 40. Let's go ahead and claim our prize. And look at our teams here. So initially, I used Ivy, Julianne, Thinker, Lucas, Toko, and Einstein with the thought process around this team being a lot of defense to protect Toko, which does put a little bit of a kink in the plans of having Ivy up front because it takes longer for her to die with all this extra defense around, especially with Einstein. But in the end, because you're going to see here, they have a very strong Pierre leading this team. And he wipes things out unless you absolutely have somebody there to, a whole bunch of people there to mitigate Pierre's effects. Then we have here on this team, we have a Laura, and Yi was put on here instead of on team 1 because they just needed that extra bit of defense. You have Lucadia here, who acts as a camp on steroids. I believe it's 35% speeding or 35% attack increase and some speed increase as well. It's all much higher than camp gives. And then we have Pierre acting as a support for Laura in the background. And then Kui is in there to help with any paralysis and whatnot that you'll see in the upcoming fight. And Cupid helps amplify Laura. And in my tests with this against this team, her partner, because for those who don't know, Cupid amplifies attack. But for it to continue, both people in slot 1 and slot 2 need to stay alive. When one of them is knocked out, then you lose that special bonus. So I put Yi in there with Divine Prayer and some vitals to keep him alive for as long as possible. And honestly, he's only at Mythic Plus right now, and it's impressive how well he stacks up. And if I ever one day get him up to Immortal, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then right here, the final team. The key players here are really Time, Valkyrie, and Godslayer. Valkyrie to be in there kind of acting as a sort of Toko to keep hitting things. Not as strong as Toko is, but per punch, but she hits quite often. And then you have Rockefeller up front and center to help paralyze people as well as act as a tank. And then Rex to be a secondary tank as well. And Camp is just thrown in there to amplify attack. So really quickly, I'll show some of my setup just for you to be able to see what we have going on here with some of the key players. And still, I'm very frustrated that I don't have this Sin level 6. No matter how many times I try, I never get that final 6-star that I need. Got some Julianne going on here. And he's been somebody I've been working on because honestly, for a Godslayer, he's pretty weak. So one of the things that I'm doing, just earlier today, I converted this to T2. I'm sorry, no, it was this. I converted this to T2. I gave him more broken armor to help amplify things. This is the next one on the docket. Maybe not this one. I need to see if there's something else because Godslayer doesn't use skill damage, but everything else here is pretty solid. So I need to see who would be best to give that equipment to and swap something else in for Godslayer. Honestly, maybe even switch it with Toko. No, she has skill damage here too. Honestly, and with that damage, I mean, that's okay for her. Yeah, so then Pierre, he is vastly underpowered compared to what he should be. He has skill damage like he should. And I do use him a little bit where I was using him as a tank before I gave Divine Prayer to Yi. And so you see he still has some tank stuff here and there to like damage immune, the HP, just to help him live longer. But even then, I mean, for now, it's still good. Satan, he was on my team. You know, it's really odd. For some reason, even though his attack is lower than my Godslayer, time chooses to and prioritizes Satan over Godslayer. At least my time does whenever they're on the same team. So I finally was able to get my tertiary team to work when I pulled Satan out, so I could have time get Godslayer up and going as quickly as possible. And then we have Rex, my old tank from a while ago. Now he's just bare bones. Here's my Valkyrie, also bare bones. I just today I got her up to level 20 with her exclusive, and I don't think she might be involved in one of the teams. And then we just have some secondary minor people who don't have too much to say. Here's my Yi, and here's Lucadia. Surprisingly, these phantoms work well even at the. I mean, I'm using this Lucadia in my teams against other players, and these phantoms are working even only at functioning at level 2. So, yeah, there. Who knew? Oh yeah, and then my Lucas, really great guy to have in your team, especially exclusive level 30. Just really fantastic. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the meat of everything. Show you how it worked. So this is honestly the hardest fight of this matchup, just partially because you're dependent on Toko's RNG. Well, both Toko and Pierre's RNG. Pierre hitting and Lucas keeping people alive. It's tough because that Pierre, he'll go in and he'll decimate, and sometimes he hits Toko first if there was some chip damage that happened and Toko got hit, and so she's a prime target, and if she gets eliminated early, the whole thing is for naught. So you gotta kind of cross your fingers and pray that she's able to stay untouched so that Pierre doesn't try to knock her out too early. Yeah, and see, it's already starting. Lucas was a huge save there, helping Toko stay alive here. If he hadn't moved around and shuffled some of the damage, like he did right there as well against Satan, she would have been gone. I mean, look at that. She was on her last leg. And right now, yeah, so we're down to these two. It's two defensive players against one DPS. Luckily, Julianne can hit. Another great thing with there is I believe she caught him in some kind of a duel, and so he is unable to use his special attack and do a lot of damage, which is frustrating for him. But yeah, it looks like Lucas will be able to keep her alive long enough to deal the killing blow right there. Fantastic. Let's go move on to the next round. Here we have, it's pretty standard fare for a Laura team. As you can see, like I mentioned, Kui is here to help mitigate paralysis from Zeus, and Cupid played his role. He doesn't need to stay alive to maintain the bonus that Laura is getting. Initially, I had Pierre up front, but without Divine Prayer, he just dies too quickly. As you can even in the back row right here, he's near dead, and he's probably gonna get knocked out here. Yeah. So once he was knocked out, Laura didn't have her boost anymore. So which is greatly needed to make sure to knock these guys out. And yeah, so Orichi has nothing to anchor him, and he is out. Now we go to the final Up until recently, this was the hardest fight, just because my third team is generally weak. But after boosting Godslayer today and taking Satan out of the team to make sure that this happened, yeah, and honestly, Godslayer is hitting much harder than he has been. Just that one increase to T2 was enough to make a difference. And right here, I just only a day or so ago, I got a Valkyrie to Immortal. She's not fully awakened, but still, I'm just very impressed with how hard Valkyrie is able to hit and how much of a clutch player she ends up, a clutch character she ends up being. Right here, and she's just gonna keep chopping away these guys. I have her also equipped with Samurai Stigs, so that'll increase the amount of the frequency of her hits. And so she's just over here chopping away at everybody in her path. And yeah, it was fantastic. Honestly, this fight would have been over if I had strikers on Godslayer, but unfortunately, I do not have the funds to afford that right now, so I'm gonna have to go a little bit slower here. So, ta-da, we did it. Finally passed this level. I get to move on to the next chapter and join the big boys in the new floor. All right, so let's see. Got quite a few strong. Yeah, these guys are all from my union. Very, very strong. They're all, yeah, like DK in a box right there. He's pretty strong. I can't fight him one-on-one. I can't beat him. So knowing that he's stuck there at 5 says a lot about that. So we have Dombois, as some of you might remember from my previous video. He's stuck over here at 10. We got these whales up here. Even more. Holy cow. Walls is a pretty strong guy for his VIP level. Yeah. And we got people stuck up here. Bada boom. Yeah, so this guy, I find him very impressive because he's, if I recall correctly, Bada Boom is only a VIP 11 like me. But he actually won his, he won our Dominator Championship a month or so ago. And, oh, there he is right there, coincidentally. He's going up against somebody else from my union. So, yeah, he was able to take first place, and for VIP 11, that's pretty impressive. But anyway, that's all I have for today, everyone. Thanks for listening in, and I hope this was able to help some people either with that level specifically or just team building in general. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.